Greetings, flesh wound horror freaks, and welcome to a new edition of KAIJU KAOS. I am Daniel Shine, joined as always by producer Todd Loya.
What's up?
And Mike Kruger.
What's up, you sick motherfuckers?
So yeah, we're here tonight to talk some more kaiju for you guys. So we'll get right into it because obviously you guys have already heard of this one. It's the most anticipated new film of the summer, the summer blockbuster to end all summer blockbusters, and that is Ape versus Monster from director Daniel Lusko and the esteemed studio Asylum Entertainment. So Ape versus Monster, totally original concept. This one follows after crash landing back to Earth. An ape grows to an enormous size and dukes it out with the giant Gila monster. All right, so yeah, Ape versus Monster. So first off, I want to say this director is taking the world by storm because he's also got the second biggest blockbuster of the summer. He also directed Top Gunner, which is also from the Asylum and starring that young up-and-comer Mr. Eric Roberts. All right, so first, I don't know that there's going to be a lot of nice things said, so they do an okay job of making the Pentagon, making it look like the Pentagon from Eric Roberts' basement. I think they did an okay job with that. The premise is ridiculous. The U.S. and Russia is for some reason teaming up at the height of the Cold War. I guess that's something they thought might happen.
That's how bad the threat was, Dad. Come on.
I will say something nice. The Gila monster actually looks a lot better than the ape. I actually thought the Gila monster looked pretty good by Asylum standards. I didn't have a big issue.
Yeah, it was a 3D model they bought off of some art site.
Yeah, but it looked good for Asylum. The monkey, the ape looked like he
looked like
might have. Yeah, like there was. It looked goofy.
when they have to, especially on a budget like this, trying to do hair like of an ape is gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna look good. You got to have because I'm shocked how good it looks even in the legendary stuff. How good the fur looks.
Yeah,
because that's a hard fur and water.
Yeah.
So
Kruger, it's at least top 10 for you, kaiju wise.
So I fucking have honestly been dreading this review because I didn't even want to review this fucking movie, to be honest with you. I'm not an Asylum guy. I watched them those movies when I was a kid, but not anymore. I can't really stomach them. But I will say this is needless to say the worst Asylum movie I think I've seen. At least for me. I know you guys have seen a lot more, but for me,
see more.
This shit was fucking terrible. The premise of the movie, I actually thought was kind of cool because it was kind of like a mixture between what they did with the Rampage movie and what they did with Godzilla, and then set it up to where it's kind of a play on Godzilla and Kong too. But it had potential to be fun, but it's just executed like shit. The first 40 minutes were okay-ish. But then after that, the whole movie is just uninteresting build up for this monster fight that literally lasts 30 seconds. And it's one of the shittiest kaiju fight sequences I've ever seen, to be honest. I mean, it looks so fucking bad. And there's this tiny back and forth. But other than that, one monster kills the other, and that's it. And it's all this fucking build up for this 30 seconds of bullshit. I feel robbed.
Well, in fairness, Eric Roberts charged an extra $50 to wear pants during his scenes. So do what you got to do.
Fucking the other thing too is like during all that buildup, there's a point where the movie's just so fucking bad that like they throw in aliens, it like just right into it, like it just curveball it out of nowhere, like it's just talking about what somebody ate last Sunday or some shit.
We could have got Mecha Monster.
Yeah, right. But like you already said, Dan, the Gila monster does actually look kind of cool.
Yeah.
And like there is one scene where he's attacking a train and it's kind of an homage to Godzilla.
Yeah,
so
good.
But other than that, everything else I thought looked fucking terrible. And other than that little homage to Godzilla, there wasn't like a single sequence I enjoyed with when the monsters were on screen. And like go ahead.
It was goofy, but when they just shoot the ape with one dart and it like goes down like Kevin Nash and the finger poke of doom, I was just like, that's some powerful shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, so like once we got to the credits, I was like, fuck, I really wish I turned this movie off like an hour and 20 minutes earlier. And like maybe if something cool happened like before the shitty fight, I wouldn't have been disappointed. But yeah, it's one of the worst modern kaiju flicks you could definitely ever see. And it isn't worth your time whatsoever.
Wait. Worse than Konga TNT?
Oh, no. Okay, so like that Konga TNT is the absolute fucking worst kaiju movie I've ever fucking seen in my life. And but this comes close. I mean, Konga TNT is like, if I could give something like a -1,000, I'd give Konga TNT.
So we're not going to do a commentary on that one?
Fuck no. But yeah, and like, just I highly recommend if you don't want to contemplate your life decisions or contemplate suicide after watching this fucking movie, just stay the fuck away from it.
I did laugh. I mean, the fact that these beasts can take a missile shot and not knock them off their feet, yet the tranquilizer just demolished one of them. But it's not the worst asylum monster movie ever made. Actually, not even close. And there was every once in a while, Asylum will surprise you. They did one. It was a cash-in on Sherlock Holmes, but it was like a bunch of different monsters attacking London, I believe it was. Sure, they throw Sherlock Holmes in there, and I remember that being fairly decent. Again, for Asylum, but yeah, I laughed a little bit here and there. This one again, Eric Roberts is shooting this from his house. You know,
that was the Pentagon, sir.
What about you, Todd? Did you like this one?
I went in with low expectations, hoping that it would deliver. I agree. The first half, I was interested in the setup, and I liked where we're going. The acting was very Asylum-ish, but I wasn't. I was still optimistic, and then it started slowing down. Honestly, the bad CGI didn't bother me that I was laughing at it, so I'm sure that's not the goal. I was just laughing at how bad the ape was.
They knew it too, because you get the shots of just the hand grabbing somebody and pulling them off.
But yeah, it just lost me though about the second half. I mean, again, I'm with Dan. It's not the worst Asylum film I've seen, but it's not one I'm going to revisit. So I think I'm okay not having that one in my collection.
Yeah, no, if you can do better, you can do worse with this type of film from Asylum. That's
it.
Kudos for getting enough good CG from the Gila monster to make a credible looking trailer. And I will say this, Top Gunner is probably better than the new Top Gun movie, because at least I don't have to be annoyed by Tom Cruise. So I might actually prefer Top Gunner.
Well, why don't we rate this bitch then? I'll go first. It's a fucking fat 0. 0 out of 5 for me.
Reviewing it as an Asylum film, I'll give it a 1.5. It has some moments that it entertained me, but it's a bad movie.
And just to finish this off, Dan, I'm disappointed because you didn't mention the best the best Top Gun one, which would be Tomcat Angels, but Trauma.
Oh, that is
Yeah, I'm a 1.
okay.
No explanation needed. That was generous.
There you go. Do a Gila Monster spinoff because you actually got some good footage of that. So, all right.
So why don't you tell the audience, Dan, what we have up next for our Godzilla versus Kong portion of this?
Yeah.
I was to say it just came out on Blu-ray, but not the one we're talking about.
Yeah. not this one. We are we're gonna go back down memory lane on a couple of remakes here.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna go head to head with King Kong 1976. I can never say the director's name, but from John Gillerman, the Jessica Lange one. I think you guys remember that. Hopefully, if you're a fan, versus the notorious Godzilla 1998 from Roland Emmerich.
They're both pretty notorious, actually.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think Godzilla 98 for my generation, Kruger's generation too, is very notorious.
That's your King Kong. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to get everybody's opinions on these. I mean, they've come up in passing, but yeah. So we'll do King Kong 76 first, and for those unaware, 1976, director John Gillerman. And in this one, a petroleum exploration expedition comes to an isolated island and encounters a colossal giant gorilla. All right. So,
should I go first with this one?
Yeah, you
I'm
go
the
first.
Oldest one.
You saw it in theaters, right?
No, I was a month old when this came out, so I did not see it in theaters. But it is 100% the first King Kong movie I saw. I saw it really young. I remember it very specifically. And I didn't remember, it was one of those I didn't remember a lot and until I got older and I really started watching it. And I don't remember how old I was when I actually saw Kong, or 33. Mm-hmm. So going into this one, I'm already a fan of this. I'll say that right now. And I know Kruger has issues with it. Well, I don't know. It's the first time he's revisited, so I'm really curious about him.
It did bring us Jessica Lange for the first time.
Yes, and she does have later horror connections too. It's one of those ones that's I don't know if it's just my nostalgia for it. But I love the creature design, the ape design. I think it's probably the best, Kong's looked until now. Sorry, Peter Jackson. I don't. I know now it's weird because those effects are just not a huge deal. I mean, they're all practical, but I mean, just that was really cool when it came out. It's one of those things like Superman. People don't get how big of a deal it was when it came out. I don't know. Yeah. I want to hear you guys' opinions before I go anymore because I can't really. Yeah.
The dude cucks Kong. I mean, how do you go wrong with that? I always have fun with this one. I don't know that it's it's not a great movie, but going back and watching it, it is actually a lot of fun. I kind of had forgotten about Kong, with this trying to knock her top off. That makes me laugh.
Tried to.
Come on, he got that shit off.
She does a quick cover up, but and Jessica Lange for me is the highlight of this movie. Beautiful woman. Good cast too. I mean, Charles Grodin, rest in peace. Jeff Bridges, Rene Auberjonois, also rest in peace recently from Deep Space Nine. It's fun. It's not great, but it makes me smile. I enjoy it. It's not one I revisit all that often, but it's a beautiful looking film. And yeah, Kong looks good. He's just kind of a lovesick teenager basically in that.
And the yeah, Kruger. I was
Oh, he
sorry,
always
first.
was lovesick, but yeah, a little
No,
more
yeah.
awkward lovesick, I should say.
So like you guys are kind of already referenced, like I'd only seen this movie once and I watched it. I was really pissed off. I did not fucking like it at all.
Why?
Because there's no fucking dinosaurs.
That's
And I still have that issue with it, to be honest with you. But I'll say this: you guys already brought up Jessica Lange, ultra sexualized Jessica Lange for the fucking win. How many times did they fucking reference Kong trying to rape her? Like that was just that shit was just really funny. And like this has a lot of 70s sleaziness to it that like I was kind of hoping for, and I was pleasantly surprised with how sleazy this Kong is. You already talked about the suit. The animatronic suit is super impressive, especially for the time period. The only thing is when Kong smiles and does like a couple of other expressions, they look super fucking goofy. It reminds me of this like weird 90s comedy with I can't remember what the fuck it was, but there was like a Bigfoot suit and
Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah. Kong looks like Harry and the Hendersons fucking cover art.
That makes sense though. I mean, time period wise.
Yeah.
I'm a Night of the Demon guy personally, but yeah.
Kong versus the giant snake is really fucking cool though. Like when he rips its jaw off. That's fucking awesome. But like I said before, I really wish Skull Island was done better for this movie. Because outside the Kong and that snake and the natives, there really isn't a lot of threats on Skull Island. Like I think that's kind of what this movie gets wrong the most is like Skull Island isn't death staring at you at every corner like it should be. And yeah, I still have an issue with that. That really hasn't changed. I'll also say like there's a couple of portions of the movie in like the beginning and then in the second half that kind of drag and were a little uninteresting to me. And the transition we get from Skull Island to New York, that feels really rushed for me. This, like,
well, if you watch the other one, there's quite a bit, yeah. But then I'll say real quick we'll come back to the longer version. I'll mention that after. But
okay,
that footage is there.
Yeah, I was just like watching the theatrical. That whole sequence seemed rushed, and the same with basically the portion in New York. And when we get to the final fight, I thought it was cool that Kong is fighting on the Twin Towers instead of the Empire State Building. That's a cool way to switch it up. But I don't know, that fight sequence when he's fighting off the helicopters, that just in comparison to other renditions of that scene, it feels a little lackluster to me. So overall, like I don't hate it like I used to. Or think it's like complete shit. I mean, there's definitely plenty to like about it, but I'm not in love with it either. Like out of all the on-screen, Kong movies we get, it's definitely one of the weakest for me, but it's definitely not as fucking bad as its sequel, King Kong Lives, which is the worst piece of shit fucking Kong movie ever. And I hate that movie. And like then maybe that's a little bit where some of my rating is gonna go. I hold some resentment that 76 Kong spawned that fucking abortion of a goddamn film.
I will tell you, I would 100% love that piece of shit, and I know it's a piece of shit. It's just so bad. And when I rewatched it, I was still cracking up at the horrible. It's like you cannot misuse Linda Hamilton any more than she's misused in that.
The only cool thing about that movie is Kong rips somebody, like some dude, in half, and like other than that was the only saving grace out of that whole fucking piece of shit King Kong Lives. But the dude, fucking a female Kong with her fucking flappy ass National Geographic titties, like I fucking. That's awful.
It also took 10 years, I believe, to get that out. So it was a long time. Yeah, I think 86, exactly a decade. my favorite. I don't know who said this. It wasn't me, so I'm not taking credit for it. But they said this was by far the worst thing that ever happened to the Twin Towers. Which I was like, oh, I don't know if I go that far, but. But
oh no, but the television version, real quick, I was going to bring up. Yeah, if you're not this is why I made sure you'd already done it, but I made sure to say to Kruger, watch the television version, because the longer version, or watch the theatrical version. Yeah. The television version is so padded out, but it does have some of the stuff that slows down the stuff that feels rushed. But yeah, I think you have to really be a fan to watch that one. And then, because I did watch that one too, and then I got annoyed because then you don't have the top ripping parts.
I laughed a lot, like when Charles Grodin is like that.
He was
the perfect cage, and then it's just like he hulks out of it in like 1 second.
I think that Charles Grodin was the shit in this, but I think that's the thing. It is more goofy. It's that
it's campy as hell.
Yeah, it absolutely, but it is entertaining. Like, I'll be honest, I haven't watched this in a very long time, and it is fun. It's not. It's disappointing. I think obviously even in '76, I'm sure a lot of people were like,
no. This was Godzilla '98. I feel like it's '76. When it first came out, about half the people liked it, but it seems like as time goes on, people have warmed up to it. Especially just wanting that longer cut. I think people just want a chance to see it.
Yeah.
I do remember watching it on television too. Especially like I knew exactly the way Night 2 started. I was like, holy shit, I remember this. There's still some shit left in there that I remember, I guess.
Yeah, it certainly it was for a generation their King Kong movie, you know.
I see. When I saw the original one, I was all psyched because it had dinosaurs. I didn't have that in the other one.
Yeah, I mean, just for me, like King Kong isn't just Kong. You know what I mean? It's very much Skull Island for me, and probably why I love Peter Jackson so much is just because of how much work he put into Skull Island, and like when you take that out, it makes me really upset. So fucking, but. Like I said, the giant snake's cool. It's just it ain't a fucking T-Rex.
I'm sure they probably tested it, because didn't Rick Baker do the makeup? And I believe it was Rick Baker on this one. I bet they tried, but it may have looked like shit. Maybe they knew their limitations.
Yeah,
because I don't think they would have went in not wanting to do the dinosaur, because this is pre-Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I think that's probably what happened. It was just like, hey, it's 76. The dinosaurs are going to look more, that they weren't ready for that big revolution in effects yet. And that's probably what factored into it. But I mean, the snake scene was cool, and it's definitely lacking on the threat. It could have used something. Give us something else, even if it's something you just make up, But
we got Jessica Lange's tits, so all good.
And booty shorts. That's the star of the show here.
Yeah, that is true.
That is the star of the show.
So why don't we rate this one then? For me, I'm a 3 out of 5.
I'm a 3.5, actually. It's a lot of fun. Not a great movie, but it's fun.
I'm a 4, and yes, I know half of that is nostalgia, but
that's fair.
It's not boring.
No. Now, Kruger, what would you give King Kong Lives?
Fucking King Kong Lives as a 1. And the only reason it's probably a 1 is because I had watched Ape versus Monster right before I watched King Kong Lives. So it could be a little bit lower, but I will say watching Kong take a guy and just snap him in half, and then you see his guts kind of fall out. That was pretty dope. So that's probably where the 1 is.
Yeah. Nice. Well, if I did it, it would be too high for me to say. It might make you angry.
You're gonna give it a fucking 5, huh?
No, it would have been a 4. Okay. But that's 100% because it is so bad. It's good, and I can laugh at that fucking thing. It's bad.
Dude, most people forget that fucking thing exists. It's so
I've
bad.
noticed that. Yeah, that's the weird thing because you will hear, and maybe it's because it did launch a fantastic actress in Jessica Lange, and that's part of it. But you rarely hear people talk about King Kong Lives. I'll see a lot of times like, oh wow, I didn't know Linda Hamilton was in a Godzilla or in a King Kong movie. Pardon me. And yeah, I
It's
don't know what
so
it is.
bad. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about it. It's so bad.
Oh, dude, when Baby Kong pops out at the fucking, oh my god, dude.
So bad.
And homeboy's like, let Kong see his son. And Kong's fucking dying, all shot and shit, looking like fucking he just got like hit by a drive-by.
Maybe I am a
crawling over.
5. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I kind of figured you might not like that one.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. But the only thing, like, I will say, I wouldn't mind if Scream Factory put it out just so I could have it in my collection. I'd never fucking watch it, but it would just sit there next to Kong 76.
It'll happen, I bet. They're due.
That who holds the rights on that one? It was Fox for the home video. I think the rights were someone else now.
It'll be one of those ones that once they put it out on Blu-ray, then you'll start having people coming out of the woodwork that love it. You know? You've had that, yeah.
Now we move on to fucking TriStar Godzilla.
All right, so Godzilla 1998 from director Roland Emmerich. In this one, French nuclear tests eradicate an iguana into a giant monster that heads off to New York City. The American military must chase the monster across the city to stop it before it reproduces. I think that description is good. Try and just think of it as a monster and not Godzilla. Does that make it a good movie? No. But at least, you know, I don't know. I think you almost have to look at this as a really poor American attempt at Godzilla. But I'll tell you, man, like I know you're a little too young, Kruger, to remember like right when it came out, probably. But no, I guess you.
No, I do.
A little bit.
I remember they marketed the living fucking shit out of this movie.
Was it Taco Bell that had the toys? I'm trying to remember. Taco Bell. Okay.
I have.
Was it Taco Bell? I thought it was Burger King. I'm not sure.
Well, I know Taco Bell did. I don't know if anyone else did. The reason I remember Taco Bell is the little Chihuahua and Godzilla's shadow, and there was interplay with the dog.
It was everywhere.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if more than one person got the license, I remember they had the Godzilla drink holders that you could like set on your door, and I have one of those somewhere still. So I don't use it. Shocker.
My reaction at first was like the cast, because it's very random. I mean, we got Ferris Bueller, Gene Reno, who I love, Hank Azaria. I mean, it was very like, wow, like this is like throwing a dart at a wall of actor names kind of casting. But does anybody here like it?
So, I'll just go and say, like, this movie has its fan base. When it comes to the Godzilla community, there's a lot of defenders of this movie, and because of that, that's the main reason I wanted to review it on our show, is because I've heard for probably the past 3 or 4 years now, so many people go to bat and just say it's a great monster movie, but it's not. It's just a bad Godzilla movie. You fucking people are crazy. This movie is goddamn shit. Like it's bad, man. Like, first off, the fucking CGI effects like are extreme. Like, I'm sure they were decent for the time, but as far as any rewatch value, like they're very, very dated. And just not impressive. Like, and there's a few glimmers of practical effects here and there. And like the suits they had for Godzilla's offspring, like the couple of shots you get of those suits are really cool. And there's even a couple of sequences that involve miniatures, like the boat sequence in the beginning and stuff like that. But man, like this is another situation where there was going to be so many different practical effects used in this film, and they just kind of said fucking scrapped it for CGI. And I think this film would have a lot more rewatch value nowadays if they would have went that more practical route, because they did actually make some really impressive stuff that just was in a couple of seconds of the movie or just wasn't used at all. The redesign for Godzilla, like, I actually don't mind the design at all, but it's not Godzilla. Like, if this was like a Beast from 20,000 Fathoms remake or, you know, something different than Godzilla, I'd say it's a pretty dope monster design, but it's just not Godzilla. And I think one of the things that hurts this movie the most is like the human characters are so fucking insufferable. Like, I could not give a single fuck about either one of those other of the two main characters. Like, I just wanted to see Godzilla fucking squish on their asses because, like, I'm just like that stupid cunt of the news reporter couldn't stand that fucking character, nor could I give less of a fuck about her and Matthew Broderick's fucking dumbass relationship. Like, oh, it's fucking terrible. The movie's runtime also is fucking ridiculous. Like, I'm pretty sure this is one of the longest Godzilla films in existence. And because of that, the story just drags on in so many different areas. And there's easily an hour of bullshit you could edit out and like make the movie feel, you know, more high paced and just flow better. And like the other thing that watching this, I didn't remember this at all. This movie's got like this weird campiness to it that just doesn't fit the fucking like tone that like all the shit you're seeing on the screen, and then somebody cracks like a stupid fucking joke about shitty American coffee. Like the whole French subplot is just dumb as fuck. Like, oh my god, it's so fucking stupid. So yeah, by the end, like of this revisit, my opinion hasn't changed. This movie still fucking sucks, and I don't understand why so many people defend it other than, you know, the nostalgia thing. It's not a decent monster movie. It's a fucking bad monster movie and a poorly made fucking film. And the only silver lining for this thing's existence is the 2 seasons of the animated series that came from it, because it is 150 times better than this fucking movie. And I think at some point we definitely should cover that animated series, maybe on Fleshwind Juniors or something, because it is really, really fucking good. And like it's still like the same Godzilla, but they make him, you know, he shoots out fucking, you know, a laser beam and he fights, you know, other monsters, and it's much more Godzilla than whatever the fuck this piece of shit was in this fucking film.
So you're saying you didn't like it? Yeah, it's 2 hours and it's almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
which is weird because back then, I think maybe right around that time you started to see it a little more, but that's very long for, you know, a monster movie like that. And yeah, not a lot worked. Matthew Broderick was very strange casting to me. Gene Reno, I get it. I mean, again, I love Gene Reno, Leon the Professional, only a few years removed from that. But man, what a waste of a talent. And I think it really is. It's just one of those movies for 90s kids. It was such a huge deal. I don't quite get still liking it, but nostalgia is a powerful drug, and that for some reason that it still works for people.
I just don't understand all the defense. Like, if it was a decently made movie and it was just the fact that, you know, it just doesn't look like Godzilla and it doesn't act like Godzilla, like that's kind of how I remembered it being. But now looking back, no, the movie's just shit. It's just it's poorly made, and like I like it has a cool looking monster, but outside of that, and like I'll say like I said, some of the stuff with the offspring was kind of cool. Like I did like that, you know, that type of threat that they threw in. But then it also feels like they just took Godzilla and mixed it with Jurassic Park, because like the whole thing when they're fighting in the, what is it, MSG or whatever, like and oh my god, was anybody going to talk about the stupid gumball scene when they fucking, oh my god, when they make the fucking offspring trip over the fucking gumballs like Home Alone? So fucking stupid. Like,
Well, here's my bit of trivia. This was the first ever movie I saw it in IMAX.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of didn't like IMAX for quite a few years after.
Damn.
Still now, if I have a choice between IMAX and Dolby Cinema, I always go Dolby Cinema. I don't know. I think I'm holding a grudge from this movie. I really do.
Yeah, unfortunately, this isn't a case of you watch it again after a long time and it's grown on you. For me, is it the worst example? I mean, I'd actually say it's not as bad as like a Mummy 2.
I wouldn't
but-
say it's the worst Godzilla movie. I think the animated trilogy is definitely fucking worse. But it is definitely one of the worst. And like I said, the only thing I'm grateful for is the fucking animated series that came out of this thing, and the fact that the thing that's important about this movie is like Toho was pretty much done with Godzilla after 95 when they had this big send off with Godzilla versus Destroyer. They were like gonna not revisit that property, maybe even ever. And then 98 came out and they're like, holy fuck, the Americans really fucked us really bad. We need to go back and fix this shit. And then they came out with one of the best, Godzilla 2000. So I'm grateful for that. It sucks so bad that Toho said, yeah, we need to fucking fix this shit and rewrite this wrongs, because these fans' eyes have been raped because of fucking TriStar and their shitty movie.
But you know what, though? Even like as shitty as it was, this is what I'm grateful for. The moment he shows up in Final Wars.
Oh, yes.
That's like a huge pop. And yeah.
Dude, I like when that happened, I fucking died laughing because like I thought it was so silly that they brought Zilla in, and I was like, if the only thing that can make this good is if Godzilla fights him and just beats him in 2 seconds, and sure as shit, fucking Zilla goes for the fucking tries to jump on him. Godzilla swipes that bitch out of the way and sets him on fire. So
yeah.
I do remember going to see Godzilla 2000 and walking out thinking, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God they didn't end on that note, because I think that was the most depressing thing, because it was like,
there's no more. Yeah. No, I'm with you. Like, and they it seemed like the attention when they made this movie too was like it was going to spin off a actual franchise, and that's why it ended up becoming the animated. Most of their ideas went to that. But like I said, that shit is really good. You can get it too really cheap right now. You can get it for like I think $8.99 on Amazon, and it's the DVD, and it comes with all 40 episodes, including I think like 3 unreleased episodes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did grab this. So
yeah. So why don't we rate Godzilla 1998? So I'll go first, and you guys will actually probably be surprised.
Oh.
I'm not that low. I'm a 2 out of 5. Because I do have a little bit of nostalgia for this film too, and like I said, the stuff with the offspring I really like, but man, just fucking I don't understand the Defenders. It's a bad I'm cool with you enjoying the movie, but if it's a bad movie, at least admit it. It's a bad movie. But what about you, Todd? What do you rate it?
I keep going back and forth between 1.5 and a 2. I think 2 is fair also. I think I'm 2 just because like I think there was some potential even if it didn't happen. I mean, they could have. I don't know. Yeah, I'm 2. It's definitely below average.
I'm a 1. Yeah, this one I've never cared for it. I mean, I recognize there's some stuff that people would gravitate to, some eye candy going on, some special effects eye candy, but yeah, I still don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, me too. So I think it's needless to say, head to head, 76 Kong fucking smashes Zilla's dumbass face in.
not the worst, and this is not saying anything for it, but it's not the worst of the like mega blockbusters of the 90s and early 2000s. I will say that. I think Mummy Returns is actually worse than Godzilla.
You know, save that because that's a conversation with Pugs that we need because he's a supporter of that. So
The Mummy films.
well, I like the Mummy films in general, but
I like the first one for what it is, an Indiana Jones movie, but the second one I just
well, yeah, I'm with you. I hated the summer blockbuster for like a decade because of that movie. I legitimately, I was like, I ain't fucking with that. But
all right. Well, on that note, guys, if you haven't watched yet, listen to our trailer reaction show. I thought that went really well, and you'll get a peek at some stuff I know we're going to be covering. Also, fleshwoundfeatures.com, which has the link to everything, including our Teespring store. Patreon.com/fleshwoundfeatures. We have a new exclusive video up there right now, and we will also have another adults only one that will never leave Patreon coming for you soon. Also join the Discord, Horror Cartel Flesh Wound Radio Facebook group. Follow us on Twitter at Flesh Wound Radio. Everything else is Flesh Wound Features. And and we're on the Twitch now as well.
Yep, that is correct.
Boom, boom, boom. I got it all.
Right. Well, then let's get the hell out of here, Dan.
Yes. Oh, and tomorrow, wrestling fans, we will have
Sunday,
we will have a Squared Circle Society. So, well, I had to botch once, so there you go. Tune in. Tune in. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment on my lovely hat, please.
Okay.
Nice comments.
Yeah, so far we did have one on yesterday's show, but it was Dan commenting on his own hat. So, Dan, say goodnight.
Good night.
Stay sick, motherfuckers.
We're out.